architect's property demonstrates how to heal the earth by generating renewable energy from the sun and the wind. And that's not all. The occupants also live off the organic foods grown on the property. This is possible because of a little-known process called vermicomposting. What happens during this process is that the home's daily refuse is put aside instead of being discarded. The owner also makes a special trip to the market every day to collect an extra ton of rubbish. Most of the scraps are shredded and mixed with sawdust before placing in the most unexpected of places: worm beds.
This bed measures about 1.2 meters by about 6 meters. And it can carry about 1,000 kilos of garbage. Now what we do here is that we just put the garbage in here and let it compost for about 25 days. After 25 days, the worms will now start going in, okay? And what they're going to do is to eat this garbage, decomposted garbage. After 20 days, okay, we are ready to harvest it. From waste, it's converted into cash. I'll show you the worms. These are the worms, and these are the worms that will eat the composted garbage and that will produce and that will give this vermicast. So we sell this for 500 peso per kilo.
Garbage can be recycled into something useful. This is the best solution to one of Philippines' biggest environmental problems: overflowing waste dumps. Less than 5% of the country's waste is incinerated or buried. The rest end up in hazardous landfills like Smoky Mountain. The results of vermicomposting are these chilies and melons. Rubbish has been transformed into rich fertilizer for the plants.
It's more sustainable because it's a cycle. We have our waste, okay, we process it for composting, for soil, let's say fertilizer. We plant, okay, then we harvest, then we eat, and back again.
But that's not the only area that the home and family is self-reliant in. Courtesy of a biogas digester that was installed 3 years ago, rubbish that does not go into the vermicomposting process goes to the pigs, literally. The animal's waste is then processed into methane gas for cooking. For a home this size, the electricity bill would normally come up to about 7,000 pesos or $150, but the owners came up with a brilliant idea to halve the cost. By designing the house in a special way, only natural light is needed during the day to illuminate the house. When night falls, more than 100 of these lamps that are made out of recycled materials like bottles and containers light up the spaces.
If you're going to look at the house, you have a lot of holes here. The purpose of this one is to let the air come in and air comes out. And you don't have to use a lot of air conditioning or electric fan to cool the area.
Thoughtful design and construction can minimize the impact we have on Gaia. It's been estimated that green buildings or buildings designed for environmental sustainability can reduce energy and water consumption by up to 70%. April 29th this year, summer hit New Delhi hard. Mercury levels rose to 43.5 degrees Celsius, making it the hottest day of April in the last 50 years. While urban Delhiites try to block out the harsh climate by blasting their homes with air conditioning, one man has managed to keep his house cool the natural way. He is architect Manit Rastogi. While his 1,500 square meter house might look like any other in the upmarket Panchsheel Park neighborhood, it consumes just around 1/6 the energy a similar size house would, because this house is designed to save. While most architects pride their work on an individualistic brand of style and creativity, Manit is free to admit that these features were all copied. And you'll be surprised, they are copied from the most unexpected of architects.
It's entirely plagiarized. Not a single thought is unique. Maybe other than the structural design of the swimming pool, which I don't think comes from there, but to a very, very large degree, you will find these kind of responses on a much smaller scale in the Havelis, in the hutments, in the villages, where they have a sloping roof, and they take a pot, break it in half, put holes in the roof like we have holes here, and they cover them with these half pots. So what happens is when it rains, the water goes over the pots. When the wind blows, it comes in through the pot into the house, and it is naturally cool.
Based on the age-old concept of thermodynamics, or the principle that hot air rises and cold air sinks, Manit designed this house with a large central void connected to all parts of the house. This enables hot air to rise up through these vertical columns and be vented out via thermal exhausts on the roof. Cool air from the gardens and swimming pool can then replace the void left by the rising hot air. Floor-to-ceiling laminated glass ensures the heat is kept out while letting diffuse light in. So while it might be blazing hot outside, the temperature in the house is kept at 25 degrees Celsius. This explains why Manit only needs to turn on one air conditioning unit, thereby reducing overall energy bills. Looking like an avant-garde space-themed design, this barrel roof dotted with skylights has more than just an aesthetic value. Each skylight on the curved roof is placed at a particular angle, orientated towards the sun. This means natural light floods the house throughout the day, enabling this indoor garden to flourish. Another plus point, the plants grow straight. To Manit, only when there is interplay between the house, the sun and the climate can his home tread lightly on the environment.
In a house of this size, which is about 500 square meters, it weighs 500 tons of material to provide shelter to 4 family members who on average weigh 60 kg. So, we are putting in 500 tons of construction material to provide shelter to 250 kgs of human beings. That is very unsustainable, but that's the way we build. And it is probably the most inefficient method of building compared to any other species on the planet.
The built environment has an important role in tackling climate change, which is why eco-homes are important. Not only did his house cost about 25% less to build and 30% less to run, it also reduces his carbon footprint. Most buildings built today are not green. After all, green buildings cost more and certification costs are onerous. But with the world urban population projected to double in 40 years, which means more homes needing to be built, building green hasn't been more urgent.